Hello and welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. My name's Harriet. Today I'm going to be talking through the books that I read in the month of August. This month has just been crazy. I didn't think that I would read as many books as I have done. It felt like I was busy all the time, but somehow I've managed to read almost 11 books, which is, I think, the most I've ever read in a month, including when I was in lockdown. And now I'm back at work, pretty much full time. So I don't really know how I've managed to do this. I have got quite a few short books that I read, so I feel like that helped to break up the bigger ones. But I am really excited to talk through the books that I read this month. So let's get started. Oh, before we do get into this, I would also like to say thank you so much for 300 subscribers. I know that might not seem like a lot to some people, but to me that is just crazy. I can't believe there's over 300 people that watch my videos now. It's just mad. So I know it's a little bit late. I'm a little bit behind. I do pre-film my videos, so when this is going up, it's probably even more behind. But I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much if you watch my videos, if you like, comment and subscribe. You're just the best, so thank you very much. Okay, enough of that, let's get into this. So, the first book that I finished this month is A Storm of Swords by George R. R. Martin, the first one, Steel and Snow. I said I would finish this in my July wrap up, but it actually did go over by a couple of days into this month. But I did finish it and it was phenomenal. I'm going to do a video on this, so I can't say too much, but wow, just so good. When I read it, it was my favourite at the time. However, I am now reading the second part of this and oh my goodness, it's just crazy. There's so much going on. And I feel like that might now be my favourite, but this was just so good. If you like fantasy, you definitely need to check out the series. It is a bit of a commitment. I understand that books are massive and there's a lot of characters, there's loads and loads of stuff happening in them. But genuinely, if you love fantasy, please read this series, you're gonna love it. And needless to say, that was a 5-star read for me, so we kind of started off this month with a bang. It was fantastic. And then unfortunately things went a little bit downhill, so I read Call Me By Your Name by Andre Ackerman. I've already gifted this to someone because I don't need it, hence why I don't have the physical copy anymore. But this book just didn't do all the things I wanted it to. I was expecting a quite romantic but gritty story, and all I got was grit and some slightly disturbing things as well, such as the age difference between the two characters. If you don't know the story, basically we are following Elio and he meets a older man named Oliver, and it's basically about their friendship and how it blossoms into a relationship and kind of how they speak to each other, communicate with each other. I just felt like the relationship was quite toxic and there were lots of things that I really didn't like about the book. I did like how poetic most of it was, but sometimes that was a bit much and it kind of dragged on a little bit and just, it wasn't for me. But I do understand why some people like it. Just with all the hype that was around it, I was expecting to really adore it and I just didn't. However, there were some things that I did really like about it, such as those poetic parts and some of the romantic sections in there. So it ended up as a 2.5-star read for me, which is pretty low. I don't tend to read a lot of books that are that low, but this month, I think because I read more, I did get a couple of ones that I didn't love. But for now, we'll talk about the next book, which was a fantastic read, and that was Running Like a Girl by Alexandra Hemingsley. I'd never read anything like this before. I'd never read any running books, things like that. But since reading this, I have actually purchased some on the Kindle. And if I see any in charity shops and things like that, I think I will pick them up because it really motivated me to get out and go running. So the idea behind this non-fiction book is we are following the author and basically her journey with running and what pushed her to take part in all of these different races, marathons, things like that. And it's really made me want to go and do a park run. I know it's a lot shorter than a marathon, but a marathon is just not in the cards for me at the moment. But I do think I would really enjoy a park run and would enjoy that kind of sense of community that I felt through reading this book. That's something that I really craved when I was reading it. So it was just written really well, it was really witty and funny, and it also had some top tips for runners. So if you are interested in getting into running, don't really know when to start, or if you are currently running but you're not at a really kind of advanced level, and perhaps you don't even want to become an advanced runner, you just want to run a little bit more, then definitely check out this book. It's such a good read. I don't generally like rating non-fiction books, but if I was to rate it, it would generally be a 5-star read for me. I'd definitely reread it. And then we get on to another 5-star read. I've already done a review for this, so I'll leave it linked down below and I won't say too much about it. But it is The Word for World is Forest by Ursula Le Guin. This book was beautiful, very short, but oh my goodness, I loved every single second of it. It was great. Le Guin's writing just really speaks to me, and I can really kind of chuck myself into the worlds that she creates and into the minds of the characters that she creates as well. Please check out my review if you're interested in this. It is a very short science fiction novel and it was just great. So naturally, after reading two amazing books, I got to one that I didn't love so much. And again, this is a book that I've already got a video review up for, so I'll leave that link down below as well. And it is The Gilded Ones by Namina Fauna. I know some people really love this book and I do completely understand why they might love it. But for me, it was the first young adult book that I read in a very, very long time that wasn't one that I already read when I was a teenager. So my experience with it was just a little bit different. I just personally felt like it was really full of cliches and it's very predictable. And to be honest, the main character just didn't speak to me. I did like some of the other characters, but there were lots that I didn't like. Again, I'm not going to say too much. Please watch my review if you're interested in maybe picking up this book and you want to see my thoughts on it. But it ended up being just a 2-star rating for me, which is one of the lowest I've ever given to a book. I feel really bad about that, but it wasn't my kind of thing. And after that, I just wanted to read something that was very cozy and nostalgic for me, but I didn't want to reread something I'd already read. So on Kindle Unlimited, there are lots of J.K. Rowling's works available if you don't want to pay for her products and give her money. I've spoken about this author before on my channel and my thoughts on it, so I won't touch on it today. But it is a way for me to read her works without giving her money directly. So I wanted to read this kind of short story collection, they're calling it, but I wouldn't say that it's short stories. It's more like little snippets of information, biographies about different characters and backgrounds on the Wizarding World, which I thought was really interesting. So the first one is called Short Stories from Hogwarts, Heroism, Hardships and Dangerous Hobbies. And then the second one I read is called Short Stories from Hogwarts, Power, Politics and Pesky Poltergeists. So this was really interesting for me to read. I think they're only about 70 pages long, these little collections, but it gave me loads of information about the Wizarding World that I didn't necessarily know. There's some things about wand lore in there, there's things about animagus, patronuses, and for me it just felt very nostalgic, so it was nice to read that after something that I didn't enjoy. Again, a book like this, I don't really want to rate it because it's so short and it's kind of just information, so I suppose it's like a non-fiction set in a fictional world, if that makes sense. But honestly, I loved reading them. I read them very, very quickly and it gave me loads of new information, which I did enjoy. So if I had to rate them, it would be like a 4.5, 5-star read, because I would reread them and I got a load of new information from it, which was amazing. It's exactly what I wanted. And then we got onto a very exciting book that I was extremely excited to read. Again, I've got a video review of this up now if you want to check it out. So it was The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula Le Guin. You know how much I love the author, her writing, I've just spoken about her. So please check out my video if you're interested in finding out what this book is about. But it is, again, a science fiction novel, although I would say there are more kind of fantasy elements in here. And one of my friends actually just sent me a link to the TV movie, which is on YouTube, so I'm going to watch that really soon on my next day off, and I'm very excited to see, because the whole time I was reading this, I was thinking, this should be a film or a TV series or something. It's just got that kind of feel to it. But yeah, go check out my review if you want to. This was a 5-star read. And then we get a book that has been spoken about so much online, both on Bookstagram and on Booktube, and that is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Now, when I went into this, I wasn't 100% sure that I was going to love it, because it is kind of like a mystery romance novel. Not really anything that I would personally pick up myself, but my nan gave it to me to basically borrow and read because she said it was really good, and she was not wrong. Oh my goodness, this book was so good. I was blown away with how intrigued I was by the characters and how well it was written, how beautiful it was. I'm thinking of perhaps doing an actual review for this, so let me know down below if you'd be interested in that, like a separate video for it. The only thing that I didn't completely love about this was the romance. I felt like some of it was a bit clunky and some of the dialogue felt that way as well, kind of unnatural. But everything else was great, and the descriptions of the places where our main character is, she basically lives in marshland. Just the descriptions of that place was so lovely and beautiful to read, especially with the weather getting a little bit cooler now in the UK. It was just the perfect time to read it. It felt really cozy. If you don't really know the story of Where the Crawdads Sing, essentially what we follow is a girl called Kaya, and she lives in the marsh, and she's kind of had to grow up on her own and make a living for herself. and she's separated from the people that live in the town that is outside of the marsh, so she's kind of on the outskirts of the town. And she's basically suspected of committing a murder because the townspeople don't really understand her and don't give her the time of day. They automatically assume that she's the one that did it. And we are following her life both in the present and the past and seeing how she becomes a young woman and her life story. And it was just amazing. So this got a 4-star read from me. I would really love to do a video on this, but again, let me know down below if you'd be interested or not, and I can look into doing that. And then since I am pre-filming this because I don't have a lot of time next week, these next few books are books that I'm still currently reading. I'll definitely be finishing one of them before the month is up, and the other one I'm going to try very hard to finish. It might go into next month, but we'll just see. So the first one is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Matar and Max Gladstone. This is nothing like what I was expecting, but it's so much better than what I was expecting as well. It's kind of like a letter correspondence set in this just crazy sci-fi world. It's written quite confusingly, but it's also so poetic and so beautiful. I really think that if it keeps going the way that it is, this is going to be one of my favourite books. It's just so lovely, really great to read. It's definitely got that kind of unusual aspect that a lot of science fiction has, where they kind of chuck information at you and you just have to sort of accept it. I don't know if it's going to be explained, but basically it seems like our main two characters are going through sort of like a time travel war between two factions. You've got Blue and Red, who are the main characters, and they are corresponding with each other, and it seems like they are striking up a kind of friendship. I am just under halfway through the book at the moment, so I'm not totally sure, but so far so good. It's a really great book. And then this is the last book, so I'm sure by now you all know which one it is. It is A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin, the second book, which is Blood and Gold. I am over halfway through this now, so I should be finishing it. I have been kind of powering through. This is even better than the first part of this book, which was Steel and Snow. I don't really have any words at the moment, and I'm only halfway through. So much has happened, so much that I didn't want to happen. I've cried, my jaw has dropped. It's just so emotional, such an emotional roller coaster. And I just have no idea where this is going to take me. And I've seen the series, like I know most of the stuff that's going on, but this is slightly different. So there's stuff happening that didn't happen in that, and there's more characters, and I just feel a lot more invested in the book series than I did in the TV series. Yeah, I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that this is going to be another 5-star read unless it does something that really annoys me, but I don't think that it can. So yeah, those are all the books that I read in the month of August. It was a crazy one, almost 11 books, which is just mad to me. I don't know how I found the time to do it, to be honest, but I am so glad that I did. I read some really fantastic books. And I tried more science fiction, which is exactly what I wanted this year, especially this last part of the year. I really wanted to focus in on science fiction and other genres, and I feel like I've really been able to do that, which is amazing. Let me know down below if you've read any of the books that are on my list, and what was your favourite read of this month. That is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!